Hey friends, today I'm gardening with Creekside. I've got two fun things we're going to do. One is a little bit of a chore that we need to do. We are going to prune the other viburnum that is behind me. I have yin and yang back here. I've already done one as a little test run to see how it went, and we're going to do the other one. So that's the chore of the day. And then the really fun thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a bit of a garden tour, and I'm going to show you all of the gorgeous bulbs that we planted this fall and winter and show you all of their beautiful glory, because oh my gosh, I know that a lot of you are still under snow, but here in the South, spring has sprung early and we are having amazing weather. It is, I don't know, about maybe 10 o'clock in the morning here. Nice and cool, crisp this morning, but it's going to warm up. Clearly, it is a beautiful sunny day, so I cannot wait to share with you all of the beautiful bulbs that we spent laboring over and getting them in the ground. They are showing off gorgeously. Now, so before we do that, you know, got to do some work before we do some play. Back here, I do have yin and yang, because these are two types of David Viburnums from Proven Winners. They sent us two, one of each. One is yin and one is yang. I don't remember which one is which because they look so incredibly similar. But the beautiful thing about these viburnums is they are evergreen. They are for the South. I believe they're zones 7 to 9. I'll have all that information for you up there on the screen so you can see that. But they're a great option for an evergreen shrub as a foundation planting or an anchoring point. I have them right here on the path going into the patio. There is a little quick fire hydrangea behind them. Then we have like Firelight Tidbit. I've got my beautiful Candy Tuft that is in all of her beautiful glory right here. Full sun is what they get in this spot, but they're very adaptable. Now, I have never pruned these because they have done just magnificently well, but it was just time to prune them because they are getting large and kind of taking over the space, so I want to keep them in check. Technically, this is the wrong time to prune them. They bloom on old growth. So I actually have some little buds forming. And by me pruning, obviously I'm going to cut them off. But I have told you that there are very few hard, fast, absolute rules in gardening. And I always say, you know, if you have to prune something that blooms on old growth, do it immediately after it blooms. And that is a great general rule. However, in this case, I am willing to sacrifice my flowers for this year because the flowers are not that, like that. It's not like a hydrangea, right? This is just a beautiful evergreen shrub that happens to do little small flowers. I'm willing to sacrifice those flowers this year because I need to prune it back, and these did suffer some damage from that Arctic blast right before Christmas, and I want to get all of that old foliage off. They are popping out new growth like crazy. So it is not going to be long at all, and I'm going to have a brand new flush of beautiful foliage that will carry me through, and then I will not have to prune it this fall. And next spring I will not. So next spring, well, like this time next year, right? So next spring I will give it a little trim after it blooms. Then I'll be on my regular cycle. So I want to show you how easy it is. I did the first one, it was large, got it nice and pruned back, and I was very selective with where I pruned. So when you're pruning, you want ideally to go above where you have two new sets of leaves and you've got that stem coming up in the middle. You want to go in there between and cut that right there. So basically it's just going to be shaped up. Now, if you have hedge trimmers and you want to use your hedge trimmers, then by all means go for it. It may look a little bit more severe when you finish it, and I want it to be nice and methodical and very precise with where my cuts are. I am in the business of showing you my garden, so I wanted to be a little bit more careful with how I pruned it so they don't look naked for the rest of until they flush back out. Now, it is up to you with how much you want to prune. You can safely prune a shrub by half. Now that's on the severe side, but you can definitely do it by that much and know that you're not harming the plant, especially when you're going into the growing season. then you know that that plant is going to flush out. So I'm really just coming in here. I have a general shape size of my one that I have already done. So I'm just coming in here and finding where those leaves are, and I'm just cutting it back and shaping it up. This is where, if you are artistic, or if you are, maybe you don't consider yourself artistic, but you're very analytical and you like things neat and balanced, then this would definitely be the job for you, because you can just go in there and trim away. But the David Viburnums, these yin and yangs, are wonderful for the South. They are, in my opinion, highly underused, underrated, and need to be used more in gardens. Just a fantastic plant. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep on getting this trimmed up, getting it cut back so that it matches the same height as its neighbor next door, and then we're going to take a bulb tour. So I'll see you back here in just a second. All right, my friends, so I've got yin and yang viburnum pruned back. Man, they look so much better. They look so nice and neat and tiny now, but I really did trim them back, gosh, I probably trimmed them back by half, but they just fill in this space so much better. Can we just talk about this candy tuft for a minute right now? Can we just appreciate the gorgeousness of that plant? Beautiful perennial that has been blooming its little head off for a long time. This is the King's Alexander Evergreen. Love that plant. But anyway, I digress. So yin and yang looking so much better. And again, if you didn't know it and you really didn't inspect them, you probably wouldn't know that I just pruned them. That's the great thing about being really kind of selective with how you prune your shrubs. But you know, just get out there and do it. And again, very few, gosh, if any, hard, fast rules in gardening. That's like I could say hostas have to go only in shade. Well, no, if you're in a very cool climate, they can go in full sun. Never prune your shrubs that bloom on old growth. Well, no, if you need to, then you got to do what you got to do, and you're going to sacrifice your blooms, and that'll be okay. So just know that out there in the gardening world, that every situation can be very different. That's why I preach that you need to be a student of your own garden and understand what your garden does, and that in certain times, in certain situations, you have to break some rules, and it is the best thing to do in the long run. So yin and yang are done. Now let's talk about the fun things. Let's talk about beautiful spring flowering bulbs. Now, excuse me, right here on the patio in front of my gardenias, this is where we did the tulip blend from Color Blends. This is Carnival. It is 3 different colors. Obviously the yellow is going to bloom first, but it's got yellows and reds and oranges. They're coming up quite nicely, and the yellow has started to bloom. But this has been very, very happy with Color Blends this year. This is my first time ordering from them, growing their bulbs, and I am a firm believer in that. If you're interested in what they have, check out their website. They are currently closed for the winter and will reopen. They don't give a specific date for fall sales sometime this spring. So I would just recommend, wherever you buy your bulbs from, is to order early. Order in the spring. They will deliver it to you in the fall when it's appropriate for you to plant them. But if you want the best selection, order early. The early bird gets the worm for sure on those. Now, we do have some more. Well, we got plenty. I got plenty of bulbs to show you right here. You can see Sweet Brenna is out there in the grass. Oh, fun thing, this morning I was getting ready for the video, and I had 2 turkeys walk through the backyard. They just had, it was a Tom and a Sarah, a male and a female, walking through, and they were very happy, and thankfully Brenna wasn't outside, so she didn't scare them off. Now, the jonquils that you see here, this is yellow sailboat. Are they not just about the sweetest little things you ever did see? Nice and petite. That is why I did the yellow sailboat here, because it is a smaller bloom and we're up close to it. Clearly, we're right here at the path. So you get to really see these up close, but Man, look at that. Just a pure yellow jonquil. Jonquils in the south do the best. So if you're in the south and you have the heat and humidity, jonquils are really good. And then also in this flower bed, I have my info with me right here. We have leek or leaky, however you want to say it. I say leek, and clearly they're just going to be a little bit behind. The leek is going to be a white with a pale yellow, but I kind of like the fact that they're going to bloom at different times, because then once these are done, the yellow sailboats, then the leek will come in and do quite nicely. But I love this whole area. They really, because I did them on both sides, and they come around on the other side of the fountain, and look how happy those are. Look at them. Just so sweet and cheery. Fantastic. Now, back behind where Brenna is, I just call that the cherry tree bed. That's the easiest way to designate it. And you will see that these jonquils are just beginning to bloom. Look at Brenna. She says, "I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeVille." Yes, I know. She's got her chew toy, and she's very happy. But in here is Pipit, and Pipit is going to be sulfur yellow with some white, and they are just now starting to bloom. Let's see if I can get up close here for you. Clearly I'm filming by myself today, so if y'all would just bear with me. But there we go. Look at that. Isn't that sweet? Really nice. And when you order your bulbs, you will see that they will tell you if they are an early bloomer, mid, or late. So if you can get ones that are in, a little bit of both, then you just prolong your bloom time for all of your great blooms. Because I have some in the back that I'm getting ready to show you that are stunning, that are in full bloom, gorgeous, and then I have some that are just barely showing some green. So that way we get to extend our season with the flowers. And okay, so we're going to walk back here. We're going to ignore the dahlia bed, which is covered in weeds. But can we take a moment and just appreciate this grass? Oh my gosh, y'all. It is beautiful green. I have had a lot of people ask about what kind of grass that we have because it's so gorgeous and green. We have fescue because here in North Carolina where we are, we can either do cool weather grasses like fescue. That means that it does the best, like it's green all winter. It loves the cool temperatures like what we're having right now. The quote worst that it looks will be in July and August when we have our high heat. It could, if it's not on irrigation, start to go brown a little bit. It's not dying, it's dormant. And then in the fall you reseed it. And as soon as the cool temperatures hit, then it greens back up. So this is a fescue blend that we have. We can also do here in North Carolina hot weather grasses. That would be like your Bermuda, your zoysia, your centipede, right? So those grasses go dormant in the winter and will turn brown, not dead, just dormant. And then once the heat hits, then that's when they're in all their glory. A lot of times, the deeper south you go, you will have folks have those grasses, and then sometimes they'll overseed with an annual rye to give them nice and green grass. Golf courses will do that a lot. So anyway, that was a little side note tutorial on our grass because so many people are asking about that. Stay tuned too because Jerry's going to throw the drone up so you can really see it in all its glory. I attended mowing school yesterday with Josh. Josh is our nursery manager and he has his own lawn care business as well. So I was learning from the master on how to properly cut grass so we can get the stripes. My stripes are not perfect, but he said that he would hire me today. I don't know about that, but just with practice, it'll get better, but I love a beautiful cut grass. So I'm learning how to properly cut grass, not just in straight lines and circles like I grew up doing. Again, side note. Now, hold your breath, because oh my goodness, y'all, here we go. Gigantic Star color blends. Is this not magnificent? And I so wish we had smell-o-vision because they smell divine. They have the most delicious, sweet fragrance ever. But look at that, y'all. When they say gigantic star, they're not joking. Like, this thing is massive. Look at that against my hand. Huge. And you could just, oh, they smell so good. Now you can see that these were not like, overly loved. I mean, they're rough right in the ground. That's why we love jonquils and daffodils so much, because they are so tough. You will also notice right here that I have yet to prune these panicle hydrangeas. These are phantoms. They're pushing out new growth. But you know what? Life's not perfect. There are perfect moments in life, just like these gorgeous, gigantic star daffodils. But is this bed perfect? No. Does it need new mulch? It does. Could it be edged right here? It sure could. The phantoms need to be pruned, but I'm not gonna sit here and look at the things that need to be done. I'm gonna sit here and look and enjoy the beautiful blooms that the good Lord has given us and created for us, because there's 500 of these bulbs in here, and they just make such a beautiful statement right here. Love, love, love this. So I would just encourage you, as you're going through your days, your life, don't try to make life perfect. It will never be perfect this side of heaven. It is not going to be perfect. Are there perfect moments? Absolutely. And those are the ones that we love and we cherish, and we hold on to those moments. So yeah, if you want to critique my garden, you can. You'll find 1,000 faults with it. But I choose to see the beauty and what's gorgeous and the good things, and not all the negative. So that is Jenny's soapbox for a moment. I shall get off. Now I'm gonna pop on over, and we're gonna go up to the front yard, because the big apricot tulips that we planted amongst the violas, they are in full bloom, and oh my word, are they gorgeous. All right, so here we are in the front yard, right off of the front porch, and you can see behind me we have got the violas that are blooming, beautiful yellow violas, and then this is big apricot. Big apricot, clearly a nice, massive, beautiful apricot colored tulip, and man, they are doing great. I'm working with the sun here, folks, so I'm gonna try to do the best I can. Great thing about tulips, of course, is that they open and close during the day and night in cooler temperatures. This morning, these were nice and tight and shut, and now they are opening up as the temperature warms up and the sun comes around. But I just love these. They are great. If you remember when we planted these, Jerry and I had a little bit of a discussion, shall we say, about how to place these tulips. And I really wanted to plant them amongst the violas, just like this. And I have to say, I'm very pleased. I'm happy with how they turned out, and he too is happy with how they turned out. So it all worked out really well. People have asked, as far as like tulips for us, we treat tulips as an annual. Our temperatures in the summertime are too hot, and we don't get consistently cold temperatures in the winter for them to vernalize and then produce beautiful flowers the next year. These tulips and all my tulips, I actually have to put in the refrigerator for 6 to 8 weeks when I get them. So when Color Blends send them to me, they immediately go into a refrigerator 6 to 8 weeks. That is their winter. It fakes them out, and then I can plant them in the ground. If I were to leave them in the ground, I may, if we have a cold winter, get a handful, a smattering of flowers. Mostly what's going to happen is I get foliage and no flowers. I personally treat them as annuals. If you are in a cooler climate, or you have a cooler microclimate and yours come back for you, fantastic. Me, I treat them as annuals. This is just something that we choose to invest our money in because we love the gorgeous early spring color, and they are fantastic. Now my daffodils, the jonquils, will be perennials. They come back year after year and actually naturalize and spread. That's why I get the jonquilla daffodils, because they can handle the heat and humidity of the south. So speaking of the jonquils, can you see over there on the other side of the daylilies that beautiful swatch of yellow? I'm gonna grab my notebook here that has my information. All right, so this is Monal from Color Blends. Did not show this when we planted them because it was a last minute decision. After Jerry and I planted all of our bulbs, I went and ordered some more, and I could not be happier with this Monal. It is absolutely gorgeous, stunning, and makes a huge impact from a distance. This has a beautiful, nice dark orange cup to it. Not quite as large as the gigantic star, but pretty darn close. But look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And what I did is we used the power planter auger with the 3-gallon auger bit on there, dug those holes, and then put about 5 or 6 bulbs per hole. That way I've got nice clumps that they spread out and covers this area. And so my plans for this fall, because they're just so stinking pretty, is I'm going to order more monal, and I'm going to go ahead and extend them all the way down into this flower bed. So that way we have big, beautiful coverage right there. And then, because I'm just a sucker for early spring color, I think like so many other people, behind me we have the woods, obviously, and there is a flower bed that runs the length of those woods. And it's a narrow bed, and I had tried a couple of years ago, I put in some daffodils up there, and they just really, I've got some green foliage, I've got some blooming, they're just not doing well. I don't know that I had good stock, and so I'm going to get the gigantic star and plant gigantic star all over there. Because as Jerry was saying this morning when we were sitting on the front porch, he was like, well, we sit on the front porch so much and have our coffee that I want to be able to see all these beautiful flowers. So that is what we are going to do. Now, we're going to hop on over behind me to the berm, and we're going to go look at those, because there are some more jonquils over there that are blooming. Alrighty, my friends, so the wind has picked up today. It's going to be a windy day, I guess, but that's all right. Spring temperatures, right? Spring weather. So right behind me, you will see Cosmopolitan. And Cosmopolitan, definitely a smaller bloom, smaller flower, nice, soft, beautiful, kind of a pale white with almost like an apricot color to them as far as their cup. But look at that. Aren't they sweet? But notice that there are 3 flowers per stem. So they're in clusters of 3. Their faces are a little bit more downturned, but all of them are blooming and doing super nice right here, just showing off, and a nice little pop. From a distance, they look more white than they do with that apricot color on them, but really nice. Love this. Side note, if you haven't pruned your Russian sage, now's the time to do it. I need to get in here this week and do that. I'll show you how I do it. But I'm happy to see that they are coming back quite nicely. And then on the other side of the berm, I planted a companion color. This is going to be Yaz. And Yaz is not as in bloom as the Cosmopolitan, but that's all right. Again, I'm extending my bloom time here on this, and so I've got buds and I've got gorgeous foliage. They're just not blooming as much yet, but I'll go ahead and show them to you anyway. So here we go. Yaz, very similar. You may even think they're the same, but they're not. Has a little bit more of a peach on, like yellow, and then a peach edge on it. So there we go on that. And then the last one, there goes Em. She's working at the nursery today. Then we have come down here underneath the purple plum, and we have golden opera. I'm trying to think if that's the only one that we have right here, and I think there might be Kedron as well. So yeah, so I can see the 2 different ones. Now forgive me, I don't know which one is which off the top of my head. There we go. Solid, beautiful yellow, a little smaller on the blooms. Nice big size as far as the clump. And let's see if I can find the names for you. Okay, garden opera is going to be I don't know, y'all. One's garden opera, one's the other one. Here we go, Cadron. Here we go. Jenny's kind of flying by the seat of her pants today. It's real life right here. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Oh, so stinking cute. I mean, really, doesn't matter what the name of it is. I mean, well, it does, but for all intents and purposes right now, it doesn't. So I would just encourage you, wherever you get your bulbs from, right? If you don't have spring flowering bulbs, go ahead and get some. I mean, a little bit of work in the fall turns massive dividends in the spring when we are so eager to have beautiful flowers popping up. These babies, I mean, like literally you plant them in the ground in the fall, totally forget about them. In the spring, they pop up. You do nothing to them. You don't have to fertilize them. You don't have to do anything. Just let them come up. And then if you get ones like my jonquils and then other varieties, like certain tulips or bulbs, wherever you are, depending on your climate, then they may naturalize, which means they spread. It means that some of them will come back, some of them won't. It's okay. You as a gardener get to decide which ones that you want in your garden. You're gonna love it. So get out there, especially this spring when those orders start coming in. The websites start opening up. Go out there and place a couple orders. Even if you just do like a pack of 10 and you put them in one little spot, go for it. I promise. It is, it's wonderfully addictive though. And the great thing is the vast majority that I plant will come back year and year and year and year and years afterwards. So lots of fun, beautiful spring color. All right. Feel like I'm rambling. I've been on here enough. As always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have a fantastic day. I'm going to enjoy this gorgeous day. We'll see you on the next video. Bye, friends.